Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yada Vidya Vilasena Bhuta Bhautika Srishtaya Tam Naumi Paramatmanam Sachidananda Vigraham. Okay, now the last section in that non-cognition.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
the last part,
Yep.
the last 10 minutes of the class, the absence of knowledge and the opposite of it has to be it cannot be the absence,
Yeah.
right? It has to be the opposite.
Yes.
So that argument, we have done it before, but I just wanted to...
Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to give you all, I don't know how I am going to do it for the online people, unless I put it as a document or something. I can photograph it and scan it and put it on this thing. Okay. There is this, for practical purposes, it doesn't make a difference whether avidya is absence of knowledge or not. Because anyway you have to gain knowledge. You have to use a pramana and gain knowledge. So it doesn't make a difference. But technically speaking, since avidya is responsible for the creation, whether it is a physical creation you see or your own mental projection of a snake on the rope, that avidya is responsible for some sort of creation. Mithya creation, accepted. But it is there, na? So it cannot be mere absence of knowledge. So it is presented as a presence, opposite of knowledge. We say kinchit bhavam asti, some sort of bhava it has got. Okay? Some sort of existence is there for it. Not a great existence, but some sort of an existence. That's why we always call it, to categorize it as sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. That which cannot be categorized as real or unreal. Unreal meaning non-existence. If it is non-existence, from non-existence avidya, you cannot have a snake. If it is existent, it cannot be negated by knowledge. Phone, existent. Can you negate it with knowledge? No. Knowledge only confirms existence. Therefore, it cannot be categorized as existing or non-existing. So some sort of an in-between existence. Jnana virodhi we call it, not jnana abhava. Then there is a big discussion on Mula Vidya, this Avidya, etc. So that papers, next class I will get some photocopies and give you all. Okay? Luckily, Dayanand found his copy which I had given 20 years back. Yeah, because 20 years back I was doing Naishkarma Siddhi. So there the topic comes up. So I had given on those photocopies. It's a discussion on the basis of this. So how to reach it to the online people, I will see. Okay? Because I don't have everyone's email, this, that, etc. All that I don't have.
Probably I take the responsibility.
Huh?
I will do that.
Okay. So I'll give you that. Okay. Someone has volunteered to do that, makes my job easy. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a copy next class. Okay. So this is the, in brief, how we look at avidya. Okay. Some sort of presence is there. Though practically speaking, yeah, you have to gather knowledge anyway. Whether it is absence or presence, you have to gather knowledge. No? So practically it doesn't make a difference. But it makes a difference in terms of dialectics, in terms of the arguments, etc. Because otherwise you are saying from abhava you are creating.
You cannot negate something which is not there.
Exactly, you can't negate that which is not there. So it will become a whole different thing altogether. There is one school of Vedantins, new school. There is a place called Hole Narasapur in Karnataka. There they follow this paradigm that avidya is jnana abhava. They refute what is known as basic avidya, mula vidya. They say there is nothing like mula vidya. The source avidya is not there, only adhyasa is there. So that argument is being refuted in the papers I am going to distribute for you. Okay, yeah. Is there any way you can load the paper onto the YouTube? Scan it and make a copy of it, and that can be done. Okay, let's see. I'll catch hold of Sunita when she comes, and we do that. Yeah, yeah, but I have to reach it to Karthik. I have to reach it to Karthik. No, Karthik is here, but I have to reach it to Karthik. No, the papers. Oh yeah, 1 second. Next week. Next week, I'll photocopy and give it. Email it, scan it, and email it. Okay, we'll figure out something on that.
If you give me a hard copy.
Yeah, I'll give you a hard copy next time.
I can take care of the rest.
Yeah, next week I'll give you a hard copy. Okay. So that is that argument that we saw. Then we saw that now we have to look into the pramaniam of the knowledge. Okay. We had seen knowledge as, normally in Vedanta, how do you define knowledge? Abhadita anagatam jnanam. Abhaditam, that which cannot be negated. Anadigatam, not gained by any other pramana. Okay. This basic definition holds good right across the board. Abhadita anadigatam jnanam. To be considered knowledge, it is not subject to negation, and it is not gained by any other pramana. That's also important, because otherwise you don't know which pramana gives various knowledge. Now when you are studying a discipline of knowledge like physics or something, you have to understand that the whole body of physics is made up of knowledge gained by 5 pramanas. That you have to keep in mind. Each bit of knowledge you can identify with this pramana, that pramana, etc. But the whole body is a collection. Okay? So keep that in mind. Otherwise, gadbad ho jayega. Now he says, eva muktanam pramananam pramanyam sata eva utpadate jnayate cha. Now with this 5 means you got knowledge. Pratyaksham, anumanam, upamanam, arthapatti, anupalabdhi. 5 means you got knowledge. He says the pramanyam is swata siddham. He says pramanyam swata eva utpadate is inherent in the knowledge itself. Meaning pramanyam here means the validity, for want of a better word in English, the validity of that knowledge is inherent in the knowledge itself. And he says, Nyayate cha, you know it also. Meaning, the pramanyam is self-evident, in other words. It does not depend on anything else. In Nyaya, what does it depend upon? Anumanam. You have to, this is a phone. How do you say this is a phone? Because the phone exists here. If it was not there, I would not see it. So like this, you will give anukula tarka in Nyaya. Okay. To establish the validity. So even though our basic definition is valid, here he changes that definition to argue against different schools of thought. Tatahi Smriti Anubhava Sadharanam. Smriti and Anubhava. What is Anubhava? Direct knowledge. Smriti is you are remembering the knowledge. You know this is a phone. Keep it in my pocket. You don't see it very clearly. Okay? You are not seeing the phone very clearly. But you remember, that in the pocket. Jnanam, Anubhava is Jnanam, direct knowledge. It is not experience. Anubhava is direct knowledge. You know? Direct knowledge is called Anubhava. In vernacular or regional languages, it became experience. Okay? Yeah. Anubhava means direct knowledge. Here, he is not making a difference between remembered knowledge and immediate knowledge. You remember the Upanishad book I showed you all last time? In the last class? You remember 8 Upanishads? This is Smriti, na? Of what? Knowledge you had gained last class. So that is Smriti of knowledge, but it is still valid as knowledge, no? Therefore, Smriti Anubhava Sadharana, common Smriti and Anubhava. This is what? He is defining knowledge. Samvadi Pravrti Anukulam Tadvati Tad Prakarak Jnanatvam Pramanyam. Let us first take the last 2 words. Tadvati Tad Prakarakam. Tad Prakarakam Jnanam. Pratyaksha Jnanam. For gaining Pratyaksha Jnanam, what do you need? Proper light, etc. If it's in darkness, I have my eyes, the object is there, I am not seeing it. No. Whatever. Tat Prakar. And it has to be in keeping. Tadvati. It has to be true to the object. No? Why does knowledge have to be true to the object? It's Vastu Tantram. Knowledge is Vastu Tantram. If I say this is a rabbit, can you see? 2 nice ears. What a beautiful rabbit I have in my hand. You can't believe it. If anybody believes, leave the class immediately. Okay.
What is the meaning of Vastu Tantra?
I am explaining. That means what? The knowledge has to be true to the object. It depends upon the object, doesn't depend upon my wish. My wishing, willing, etc. doesn't depend upon my theorizing about it, my conjectures about it. Nothing. It is true to the object. Tadvati. Tadvati. Tat Prakarakam. And Samvadi Pravrti Anukulam. Pravrti is what? Action. Samvadi Pravrti Anukulam. It has to be in keeping with Samvadi Pravrti. What is Samvadi Pravrti? A Pravrti which has got a fruit at the end of it. I saw a piece of shell. I went and picked up the piece of shell. It is shell. I got a shell. Samvadi Pravrti. I saw a piece of silver. I picked it up. It turned out to be a shell. What is this? Asamvadi Pravrti. Because it is not an ornament. I wanted silver. What did I get? Shell. Asamvadi Pravrti. Therefore, Samvadi Pravrti Anukulam. It should be in keeping with Samvadi Pravrti. That means if you act on it, the knowledge should be still valid. The knowledge should be valid for whatever action you have to do. Vyavaharika Jnanam you are talking about. Yeah.
So Swamiji, that action will
143 page. Yeah. Yeah. What is that?
action will be
Purusha
Purusha.
Tantra.
Huh?
Action is Purusha Tantra.
Action is Purusha Tantram. But what do you gain? You saw a piece of silver there. You have a choice. Want to pick it up? Not pick it up. That is Purusha Tantra. If you are picking it up, if you get shell instead of silver, it is called Asamvadi Pravrti. The Pravrti is not fruitful in keeping with the expectation. In keeping with what you wanted, it is not fruitful because that turned out to be not knowledge, it turned out to be erroneous perception. Brahma. Therefore, that will become Brahma. Whereas you saw a shell and you wanted to pick up a shell. Samvadi Pravrti. The Pravrti says, yeah, correct. What you saw a shell, you picked up shell. Samvadi Pravrti. Therefore, this Asamvadi and Samvadi Pravrti are very commonly used in terms of action. Because in Vyavahara, all action is preceded by some knowledge. No? It may be right knowledge or wrong knowledge. But some sort of thing has to be there. Therefore, if it is Samvadi Pravrti, we will say it is knowledge.
But, so Swamiji, how is it different from Phalava?
Phalavatam, that's Samvadi, yeah. But Phalam is not for the knowledge. Phalam is for the action. Yeah, that's why we are saying Samvadi.
Pravritti is
Yeah. that what you saw fulfilled the condition for action. You got it in Nam.
So
Yeah.
nuanced version of
Yeah. Samvadi pravritti anukulam. Clear up to now?
Swamiji,
Yeah?
could I please ask a couple of questions?
Shoot.
A few classes back we had said that Adhyasa is Anubhava Siddha.
Yeah?
Is that Anubhava different from this Anubhava in
Yes.
that context?
Yes.
Okay.
This Anubhava is technically used here. When you saying Anubhava is Jnanam, it is technically used. In the world, colloquially, even in Sanskrit, you use Anubhava to include experience, etc., etc. Therefore, that Anubhava is Anubhava Siddham, your experience. Yeah. That's why it, like Mithya. Mithya is used technically in Vedanta, and if it is not used technically, you find it, let us say, in Kalidasa, Mithya. There it means false. Here it means Sat Asatbhyam Anarvachaniyam. So that's a technical use of the word. Mithyavadi. Mithyavadi means he says all wrong things. He's a liar. Okay? He's a liar.
So here Anubhava is used as like perception, no? Does it mean
Direct knowledge. Anubhava is used as direct knowledge,
So that
technically.
means perception.
Shabdam. Yeah. Anupalabdhi. Direct. Yeah. Yeah.
Here, whether it is spiritual or shell,
Yeah.
I come to know immediately.
Hmm.
The moment I feel.
Yeah.
But in certain knowledge, there is a process involved.
Yeah.
So what will we call that process?
Same thing. Samadhi or samadhi. Yeah. You see?
Dependent on the end result, right?
Yeah.
Whether I see or shell.
Correct. So that is why he is saying the knowledge doesn't depend upon that. It should be anukulam. The knowledge does not depend upon you going and trying it out. Samadhi. It should be anukulam. It should not be contradicted in that pravritti. That's all. Yeah. That's why the word anukulam is used. Samadhi pravritti anukulam. That's why he says it is valid by itself. It doesn't have to be proved by something else. But it is anukulam with samadhi pravritti. If you have a doubt, okay, here it is. Yeah. That's why the initial definition. Okay. Abhaditam anadvigatam, that is the right one. Okay. This is for discussion and debate. Yeah. Samadhi pravritti anukulam.
Swamiji, sorry, just one more question.
Yeah.
A few classes back you had given an example of a sea that a boat that is stuck in the high seas
Mm.
and it saw a light thinking it's a light of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
It managed to make a safe passage
Yeah.
and next day they found it was a light of a temple.
Yeah.
So is that with Samvadi Pravritti or Samvadi?
It is Samvadi pravritti and is a result of Anumanam. Seeing the light, you made an Anumanam that it is a lighthouse. So Anumanam mein gadbad ho gaya. But the pravritti is still Samvadi, na? Therefore, even though the Anumanam is wrong, you will say the pravritti is Samvadi. He says that here. Later he says that. Yeah. This is exactly like how sometime you get a concept of something. A concept of something is not the thing. But working on the concept, you arrive at the fact. So this is something like that. Yeah. A conceptual understanding leading you to proper understanding. Okay. तत् ज्ञान सामान सामग्री प्रयोजकम न तो अधिकम गुणम अपेक्षते प्रमा मात्रे आतुगंत गुणाभावात् तज्ञानम that knowledge samanya samagri prayogyam, it depends upon what is normal conditions for that pramana to work. Like for pratyaksham, there has to be light. That's a given. All pramanas work under some conditions. To make an inference, there has to be perceptual data. Then the vritti should be there. What should be there after that? Yatra yatra, what is that called? Vyapti jnanam should be there. Okay. So those are normal conditions for a pramana to work. So those things are useful, those things are necessary, he says. But natu adhikam gunam apekshati. It does not depend on any more things. Only what is necessary, the conditions necessary for a pramana to work, it depends upon, nothing else. Why? Because there is a book called Bhasha Paricheda. Okay, book on Nyaya. It's 1 or 2 levels higher than Tarka Sangraha. There they make a huge list of what all conditions are necessary for pramana to work. Says all that is not necessary. Because certain things are given, time and space and God, etc. That's common for everything, so you don't have to include that as special causes for pramana to work. Only what is specially necessary we'll see. Okay. Remember Muhammad Ali and his father, okay? Then you will understand it. Yeah. Okay. Natu adhikam gunam apekshati. Prama matre atuganta guna bhava. Because in the knowledge, there is no external gunas coming into it. No? Knowledge of book is knowledge of book. Finished. What other gunas are necessary? So if there is no gunas in the phalam of this knowledge, there is no other things necessary for gaining the knowledge as well. Okay. Napi pratyaksha pramayam bhuyo ave indriya sannikarshaha. No. In perception, this is experiential again. You have to look at all angles of the thing. No? Only then pratyaksham will be valid. No. It may be true for 1 or 2 things, which is made up of parts, etc. It may be true. But you can't make it in the general definition. Why you can't make it in the general definition? Because he says, Rupadi Pratyakshe, color, knowing color. Color is one, na? Blue is blue. So you have to see it, what angle you have to see it. Kuch hai? Nahi, blue is blue. And Atma Pratyakshecha. Atma doesn't have parts, but you know the Atma, no? Direct knowledge you have about Atma. Supposed to have direct knowledge of the Atma. Therefore, there also there are no parts. So how do you say you have to know all parts, etc.? You can't say that. Okay. Tadabhavat sati api tasmin pitaha shanka iti pratyakshasya brahmatvacha. That being the case, you take a conch that's used for puja, etc. What is the color of the conch? White? Ivory. Ivory white. If you want to be specific. That's meant for the woman involved here, okay? For men, white is white. Only one color, white. Woman can see 10 different shades in it. But okay, whereas white is white. You mistake it for Pitaha, Shankaha, yellow conch. That is Brahma. You have a jaundice dye. Heavy duty jaundice, the bile has gone really high. Are you getting the idea? Brahma. For Brahma, you have to look for a reason. Brahmatvam. Ateva. Na sallinga paramarshadi adikam api anumityadi pramayam gunaha असल्लिंग परमाशादि स्थलेपि विषयबोध अनुमुत्यादेः प्रमात्वात्. Salinga Paramarsha. What is Salinga Paramarsha? Yeah, exactly. 5 steps of of making a logical conclusion. Vedanta only follows 3. When 3 mein kaam chalega, why do you need 5 steps? 3 steps are good enough. Okay. By Asalinga Paramashadi Stale Vishya Bhuna Anumatyadi Pramatva. Why even without that 5 steps? You can infer. If, for example, you saw smoke coming out of the building, fire, did you take the 5 steps? There is smoke, smoke is always associated. Smoke, fire, inference made. All that paramarsha, etc., you have not done. Therefore, there also, but anumanam is still valid or not? Your anumanam is still valid. 5 steps, etc., you are using the process to understand it. Okay? But not otherwise. Pramatva. It says, if this is true, then you have a problem. Apramayam api pramasyat. Jnana samanasya samanyasya samprayaya avisheshaditi vachyam. He says, even aprama will become prama. Correct. You will take it as prama. When you see a snake on the rope, do you take it as knowledge or not knowledge at that moment of perception? Then with samadhi, pravritti, etc., you will say that is false, correct? But for the time being, you will take it, that is okay. Samanyam it is. Yeah. Then he says, but you have to have this dosha abhavasyapi hetutva. There should be no dosha. That is asamvadi pravritti yogyam. Therefore, there is a dosha there. Therefore, you don't have to take adhyasa as prama. In fact, it is taken as brahma. Tamilian, be careful. Prama, brahma, sab ek hi ho jate writing mein. Yeah. It's taken as brahma. Therefore, there is a dosha there. Yeah. Nachaivam paratatastvam aguntaka bhavaka karna apekshayam eva parastvam. That means what? Jnanam na paratantram. Why? What other qualities have you used for gaining knowledge? For gaining a knowledge, what have you used other than operating that means of knowledge? For gaining a means of knowledge, what have you used other than the entities necessary for operating the means of knowledge? Like anumanam, you need linga, perceptual data. That is part of anumanam. Upamanam, comparison you need. That is part of using that knowledge. Arthapati, deductive logic, the initial logical statements you need. Perception, and that is normal process of using that knowledge. Other than that, does any system, any pramana depend on anything else? Therefore, swata pramanyam. The pramana exists by itself. It's validated by itself. The pramana exists and is validated by itself.
Knowledge always has a finality.
Huh?
Knowledge always has a finality.
More than finality, it says it is independent by itself. That's the argument here. The argument here is that a means of knowledge stands independently by itself.
Even if it's an erroneous
Yeah. Even if it is erroneous, yeah. See, that is the argument he is building up to. What he is doing all this? What he is establishing that for the functioning of a pramana, only those things that are necessary for functioning it depends upon. Like pratyaksha depends upon light. So you can't say pratyaksha doesn't work because it depends upon light. No, those are the conditions for a pramana to work. Every pramana to work, there has to be a condition for it. The sound has to reach my ear, na? You all are sitting here, listening to me, but I am speaking very softly. I have a bad throat. You can't say conditions. Hey, the sound has not reached your ears. Yeah. If I am muttering something to myself, it won't reach your ears. That's not the fault of the pramana. Yeah. That's not the fault of the pramana. Therefore, the pramana stands by itself with the conditions necessary for its functioning. That's all. Okay. This much is clear how the pramana will function. Any pramana will function in these conditions. Okay.
The pramana is not always true to the object, is it?
Yeah, it has to be true to the object.
But then how is erroneous pramana?
Huh?
Then how do we explain erroneous pramana?
Explain?
Error. How we can explain error?
Error. We come to error. Abhi tak we are only dealing pramana. Yeah, error will come to. One way of looking at it is samvadi or asamvadi pravritti. That's why he said samvadi pravritti anukulam. If it is an erroneous knowledge, you won't have samvadi pravritti. Now tell me, samvadi pravritti confirms knowledge or error? Error. Not knowledge. Samvadi pravritti, huh? The whole idea of samvadi pravritti, does it, if you picked up and you found the piece of shell, previously also you knew it was shell. Did you gain anything new by picking it up? You saw a shell there, you went and picked up the shell. Did you gain any addition to your knowledge? No. You saw a piece of silver there and you picked it up. It turned out to be a shell. Did something new happen? So now tell me, you need this pravritti for confirming knowledge or error? Error. You don't need it to confirm knowledge. Knowledge you already had. Before and after it has not changed. But erroneous conclusion has changed. Therefore, he says in the next line, Nyayateta pramanyam swataha. Pramanyam swata siddham. He says. It's important. What is pratyaksham cannot be confirmed, need not be confirmed by another pramana. This is a book in my hand. Does it have to be confirmed by inference? Does it have to be confirmed by inference? Some people are having doubt. It is book. Perception. Doesn't have to be confirmed by inference or anything else. Book. Yeah. Doesn't have to be confirmed. Now, supposing you don't see the book clearly. Okay. Let us say you are mistaking this. This is Vedanta Paribhasa book, but you mistake it for an Upanishad book. What is that called? Erroneous knowledge, Brahma. Okay. Right knowledge is Brahma, erroneous knowledge is Brahma. Okay. Now, the Brahma is corrected by which pramana? Pramana.
Perception only.
Huh?
Pratyaksham.
Pratyaksham only. That is why if you make a error in pratyaksha, like you are seeing a snake, you must put on the torch and see that it is a rope, no? Correct? Otherwise it won't work. Somebody tells you, I have Divya Drishti. I know it's only a rope. ठीक है Swamiji? I trust you, but I'll carry my stick anyway. Correct? Right or wrong? Unless you see, sometimes people still have problems. What is that? Put on the torch and show. See, your snake is only a rope. Where did the snake go? उसके लिए निधि ध्यासन चाहिए, okay? The samskara of the snake was very strong, imprinted on your mind. Either because you love snakes, you're a mallu, or you're scared of snakes. We Mallus, we worship snakes in Kerala, so Sarpakava is there. Every house has a Sarpakava, a corner for the snake. Nagadevata is worshipped. Yeah. So, not an issue. So because of that you are seeing the snake, wondering where it went, or because you are so scared of the snake you are wondering where it went. That's your samskara issue. That's got nothing to do with pramana. That's got nothing to do with pramanam. It's got something to do with your samskara, with your mind. What your mind is conditioned by. These people are people who consider emotions more important than knowledge. Subjective reality as more valid than objective reality. Don't fall in that trap. Your subjective reality and objective reality has to be harmonized. There has to be a balance between the two. Otherwise, there will always be a problem in life. This balance is called vairagya or objectivity. Vairagya translated as objectivity. This is that balance. That's necessary for any learning to take place. But very often we go by what we are feeling, and that is where the problem is. You know, all heart, feelings are important. You know why this problem has come up in modern India even more? One, our objective problems are lesser compared to, say, 100 years back. 100 years back, your daily living, your chores was a big work. Chop firewood, bring water, carry water, cook on fire. A lot of work. Objective issues were great. You didn't have the luxury of sitting down and feeling, But today's world, those things are less. And I want to manipulate the world to my convenience. We have always been doing this part of it, okay? And nothing wrong in that. But what are you manipulating the world? What are your parameters for doing it? What are you desiring? Your desires, your feelings, your emotions. So you're too focused on your emotion. I'm not saying don't be focused on your emotion. Don't jump to the other extreme. Emotions are important. But there has to be some objectivity with that. If there is no objectivity with your emotions, then you'll have a problem. Let me describe a math class for you. The teacher is saying, what is 5 plus 5? 7. Yes, beta, 7. And it's 11. Correct. And one kid says, sir, that is not true. 5 plus 5 is 10. You're too focused on facts. Our feelings are important. We are believing in an inclusive society. You are excluding all of us. I am joking now, but I won't be surprised if it happens in a classroom in the next 10, 20 years, I'm telling you. Unless we change now. Unless we change now, these things will happen, I'm telling you. You're hurting his feelings by saying that. अपना टाइम में हर्टिंग फीलिंग एक थप्पड़ मिलेगा सब बराबर हो जाएगा. Inner reality, outer reality, objectivity. If that is not there, we are living in a very airy, fairy world. You desire a thing long enough, hard enough, it will happen. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Yeah. Wishes were horses, beggars would ride. You mean to say the guy on the begging on the side of the street doesn't have a wish to go in a nice car or live in a nice house? A small percentage of them manage it. They manage it not because of their desires, they manage it because of their efficiency of their action in begging. I know hundreds of beggars. Okay? And I think only 1 or 2 of them are really rich enough to afford a flat in Bombay. What about all the other 100 people? They all wished. Does it happen? They all wished, no? They all fantasized. Fantasies don't come true like that. The order, Ishvara's order, will conspire to make it true. And I will tell them, you know it. Does Ishvara know that? He says, karma, karma phala. You have to suffer this, you better go through that. Idiot. You have done a lot of wrong actions in the past, so your guru is weak in this lifetime, therefore you have to suffer not getting all those things. So what can you do about it? Okay, now you are coming to more sensible spirituality. Okay, if your guru is weak, do these things to strengthen that, to overcome that weakness. To do this, some are prayaschitta karmas, some are positive karmas done. That is entirely a different picture. I have also seen, there is one spiritual teacher is there. Oh, negative karma is coming. Negative karma I can leave now. But your karma doesn't obey your order, it obeys Ishvara's order. Bishatmat karma pavate. Mrityur dhavati panchama, etc. Ishvara's order, not you. It will be like that Athavale. He made a big political stunt during COVID. Gathered a few people together, broke the laws for assembly of people getting together during COVID time, and said, go, COVID, go, COVID. COVID didn't go for another year after that. It went when it had its natural cycle of an epidemic. Okay, so don't fall for all this. This is all your subjective realities. No harmony there. Knowledge, objective. Cultivate your objectivity. Otherwise, you will not end up with moksha. You will end up with something else. Okay. Therefore, pramanyam tu svatagnyayate. Svatagnyayate. Svatagrahyatvat dosha bhave sati yavat sva ashaya grahaka samagri grahikatvam. Says, Sutaha grahyatvam. The pramanyam is self-evident, is inherent in the knowledge itself. Dosha bhave. If there are no external faults, Like for perception, one will be not enough light. That is a dosha, because of which you may not perceive something clearly. So dosha bhave, sati, yavat swa ashraya grahaka, swa ashraya grahaka samagri grahikatvam. Therefore, whatever is necessary for that pramana to work, perceptual data for inference, comparative data for comparison, data plus some inferential conclusions for arthapatti, deductive knowledge. These things are necessary. If these things are there, pramanyam swataha eva, the validity is known by itself. You won't need anything else. The validity of the pramana. Tenapi vritti jnane grihyamane tadgatam pramanyam grihyate. Once that vritti jnanam is gained, why vritti jnanam? For every piece of knowledge, there is a relevant vritti inside. This is a book. There is a book vritti inside. If the relevant knowledge is there, okay. Tadgatam pramanyam grihyate. Therefore, the pramanyam that is there in that knowledge is also gained from that vritti itself. If the vritti is tadvati, tad prakarakam, if the vritti is in harmony with the book, the pramanyam of that vritti is also gained in the same vritti. Pramanyam of the knowledge is also gained in the same vritti, the same thought. Clear up to now or questions hai? Okay, since no questions, I am assuming it is clear. Okay. It's an assumption. Because I am not deducting anything. Deducing anything, sorry. Na chaivam pramanyam. Okay. Na chaivam pramanyam samshya anupapatti tamta samshya anurodhena doshasa api sattve dosha bhava ghatita so ashra grahaka bhavena tatra pramanikasya graham. Okay. Naicha eva this pramanyam samshya anupapatti is not subject to doubt. Book is book, not subject to doubt. He says why? Tatra samshya anurodhena doshasyapi satvena. For a doubt to be there, there has to be some limitation, some dosha. Limitation is putting it as dosha there. Na? What doubt can you have in seeing it as a book? If my camera is not clear and you can't getting a blurred image, your camera is not clear getting a blurred image, your spectacle that you use is, then you can have it. All these are called doshas. All these are doshas. Therefore, when the dosha is not there, samshaya also is not there. Therefore, all doshas in a prama is because of some external factors or some internal factors. Internal factors also can get. Vastugatam samshayam, pramatagatam samshayam. Vastugatam is because of dosha. Pramatragatam samshayam is because something is inside my head. Some conditionings. Because we are talking of Shabda Pramanam also. Therefore, some conditionings in my head can cause it. Like that doubt, where did the snake go? That comes because of that fear of snake or the love of snakes or whatever. That conditioning that there was a snake. That samskara of the snake was very strong. So now that has to be worn out. Yeah. With some mananam and nididhyasana. That is different. Okay?
So Swamiji,
Yeah?
if two people are looking at the same book
Yeah.
and one person knows English, the other one doesn't.
Correct.
So the part that the person who knows English interprets it as Vedanta, Paribhasa, but the person who doesn't know English, so that is more to do with the pramatra, right?
Yeah.
The
Correct. If you want to know what type of book it is, etc., then the language will come into the picture. Those will be the doshas in that person's mind. But. Okay? Yeah. Because recognizing knowledge implies you know the knowledge. Yeah.
Swamiji,
Yeah. Please, Nita Ben, ask.
Can one pramana contradict another pramana?
Nope. No pramana can contradict another pramana. Like, let us say this guy is deaf, not my level deafness, serious deafness. There is an explosion there, and dust is rising, things are falling. He can look at it and say, why is it smoky like that there? Why are things falling? Because he has not heard the problem with his ears. But supposing he is a normal person hearing, he will see the things falling, he will hear the sound also, no? So it's not a contradiction of pramana, it is because of the dosha in the instrument of pramana. Similarly, your inference cannot contradict perception. Book. No inference can contradict, it is a book. Vyavahara kale, when you are taking of Vyavahara kala, even Shabda Pramana doesn't contradict. Shabda Pramana contradicts Neha Nanasti Kinchana only from the standpoint of the absolute. That is why the idea of Mithyatvam has come in. In the Mithya world, all the Pramanas are valid. All your 5 Pramanas are valid. Because a pramana is not dealing with the reality of the object. Your perception gave you knowledge of the book. Is perception giving you the knowledge of how real it is or how unreal it is? That's not the job of perception. That's the job of what is inside, using perception. Am I clear enough, Nita Ben? No, let me finish with you. Nita Ben, am I clear enough?
Yes, Swami.
Okay,
Thank you.
not at all. Yeah, Kamini, you had a question.
Swamiji, can we say like this that each pramana has its own area of function?
Yep.
So how can another pramana contradict it or
Yes.
get into the way?
Each pramana's whole area is functioning, therefore cannot contradict. Correct? Because the area of functioning is different. Good point. Good point.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like perception, it's a direct thing. I can see the phone. There is Shabda Pramana. It has to be unfolded. No? So then,
That's why the way Shabda Pramana operates is different. What is necessary? Like how for perception operation, you have your eyes, mind has to be behind the eyes, light has to be there, all that is there, no? For the operation of Pratyaksham. Similarly, for Shabda Pramana, there are certain conditions. And since this Shabda Pramana is a very peculiar knowledge, it's a knowledge of reality, whereas all Pramanas give you functioning knowledge, Vyavahara Kale. Because of that, the conditions of your mind also has to be different.
Adhikaritva.
Huh? Adhikaritvam, yes.
Adhikaritva.
Adhikaritvam has to be there in the mind, and Pramana Kushalatvam has to be there in the teacher.
Yes.
That's represented by Shautriyam. But actually it's Pramana Kushalatvam. Yeah, Shautriya means what? You are a Pramana Kushala. You know how to use the Pramana. Shabda Pramana is not easy to use.
yeah. So if this is a phone, there are 10 people in the room. They all will say it's a phone.
Yeah.
There will be no debate about it.
Yeah.
But if there are 10 schools of people and the Shabda Pramana is there.
10 what?
10 schools. Like yoga, Sankhya,
Yeah.
everybody is sitting in the same room.
Correct.
And if there is the Pramana is handled differently by each
Exactly.
person. So perception becomes so direct and
Correct.
to the Vastu
Yes.
Tantra, but Vastu Tantra, but Shabda Pramana, then it has so much nuances in the
Yes.
whole thing. And nobody says the other person is wrong.
Correct.
there
And
is
why does this happen? You know, Shankara in Adhyasa Bhashya makes it clear. He says the very fact that there are different schools of thought regarding the Atma shows that ignorance of the Atma is widespread. Ignorance of the it says that in the Adhyasa Bhashya. That's why when dealing with Khyasi, he talks about 5 different main schools, that every school will accept one of them as the way you know things. Panchakhyati. There he says that the fact that so many notions are there. Vedanta Sara also says, the fact that there are so many notions about the Atma, from the Charvaka to the Bauddha, what does it show? That ignorance of the Atma is widespread. Now look at it. I know I am. I don't know what I am. This is the condition. I know I am, I exist. Everyone knows that. I don't know what I am. Ideal condition for self-judgment, for making an opinion about myself. No? I myself will have an opinion. How I am treated by the world will add to that. What skills I have picked up will add to that. People I am related to will add to that. Country I am born in will add to that. Religion I am born in will add to that. Oh my God. What are you? Buried under 1,001 notions. So can you see how Vedanta teaching to understand is so difficult? And how the teacher has to unfold so many things, cutting across all this. That's why I use the word traditional and contemporary. Traditional Vedanta will work. Teach Vedanta in a traditional way, it's work. Provided the student is fully ready. If you're not ready, you have to be a little bit contemporary so that you can handle those things. But contemporary what? Contemporary also is a relative word. If I talk about Sri Devi and Rekha and all, today's generation will not relate to them. They don't know. Purana time. Now I will have to talk about Deepika Padukone and Karthikarian and all the Karthikarian, right? Those characters. Because contemporary. But what is contemporary also will change. So, this will happen every generation. Like someone came to me the other day. Swamiji, I am not happy with your presentation on your website. I said, okay. I said, yeah, it may be a bit, it was made 10 years back, so maybe you have to update certain things. Understand? I will send you one. She used Chat GPT to send me one. I said, pathetic. I said, I don't want to be presented like this. This is not me. Swamiji, this will appeal to the youngsters, etc. I said, I am not bothered. First, it has to be true to the person. Correct? Then you have to present the person in whatever manner you would like to. What is your target group, etc. Correct? No? So, this is where the problem comes in with understanding Vedanta. That the notions are so many. Some are normal notions, which is what we deal with in a class. Specialized notions is what we deal with in Mananatmaka Granthas like this. Like this will handle all the specialized notions coming from Tarka. Similarly, Brahmasutra Bhashya will handle about from Sankhya, Yoga, etc. So this will help you deal with arguments coming with science also. That's why some places I point out, the differences. Yeah, that's how it is. Because this is the forerunner of science. Nyaya Vaisheshika is the forerunner of science. The first theoretical physicists in India were Nyaya Vaisheshikas, okay. Yeah. Nyaya Vaisheshikas existed not in this form, in a different form during the time of Ramayana itself. Yeah. Now, how old is that? In the present form, it existed from Mahabharata times. Old enough, no? 5,000 years old. So, that's where the whole thing. So, the question of Pramanyam is not over yet. Okay? We still have 1.5 paragraphs to go. But think about it. The question of Prama and error. And we will deal more of it in the next class. Okay? Om Tat Sat. Enjoy today.